The book of Mark, chapter 13, verse 1, Mark 13 and 1, Mark the 13th chapter and the first verse. Jesus warns about the future. Jesus was leaving the temple area. One of his followers said to him, "Teacher, look how big those stones are. What beautiful buildings." Jesus said, "Do you see these great buildings? They will all be destroyed. Every stone will be thrown down to the ground. Not one stone will be left on another." Later, Jesus was sitting at a place on the Mount of Olives. He was alone with Peter, James, John, and Andrew. They could all see the temple, and they said to Jesus, "Tell us when these things will happen and what will show us it is time for them to happen." Jesus said to them, "Be careful. Don't let anyone fool you. Many people will come and use my name. They will say, 'I am the Messiah,' and they will fool many people. You will hear about wars that are being fought. You will hear stories about other wars beginning, but don't be afraid. These things must happen before the end comes. Nations will fight against other nations. Kingdoms will fight against other kingdoms. There will be times when there is no food for people to eat. And there will be earthquakes in different places. These things are only the beginning of troubles, like the first pains of a woman giving birth. You must be careful. There are people who will arrest you and take you to be judged for being my followers. They will beat you in their synagogues. You'll be forced to stand before kings and governors. You will tell them about me. Before the end comes, the good news must be told to all nations. Even when you are arrested and put on trial, don't worry about what you'll say. Say whatever God tells you at the time. It will not really be you speaking. It will be the Holy Spirit. Brothers will turn against their own brothers and hand them over to be killed. Fathers will hand over their own children to be killed. Children will fight against their own parents and have them killed. All people will hate you because you follow me, but those who remain faithful to the end will be saved. You will see the terrible thing that causes destruction. You will see this thing standing in the place where it should not be. Reader, I trust you understand what this means. Everyone in Judea at that time should run away to the mountains. They should run away without wasting time to stop for anything. If someone is on the roof of their house, they must not go down to take things out of the house. If someone is in the field, they must not go back to get a coat. During that time, it will be hard for women who are pregnant or have small babies. Pray that these things will not happen in winter, because those days will be full of trouble. There will be more trouble than has ever happened since the beginning, when God made the world, and nothing that bad will ever happen again. But the Lord has decided to make that terrible time short. If it were not made short, no one could survive. But the Lord will make that time short to help the special people he has chosen. Someone might say to you at that time, "Look, there's the Messiah." Or another person might say, "There he is." But don't believe them. False messiahs and false prophets will come and do miracles and wonders, trying to fool the people God has chosen, if that is possible. So be careful. Now, I've warned you about all this before it happens. When Jesus, the Son of Man, comes again. During the days following that time of trouble, the sun will become dark, the moon will not give light, the stars will fall from the sky, and everything in the sky will be changed. Then people will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. He will send his angels all around the earth. They will gather his chosen people from every part of the earth. The fig tree teaches us a lesson. When its branches become green and soft and new leaves begin to grow, then you will know that summer is very near. In the same way, when you see all these things happening, you will know that the time is very near, already present. I assure you that all these things will happen while some of the people of this time are still living. The whole world, earth and sky, will be destroyed, but my words will last forever. No one knows when that day or time will come. The Son and the angels in heaven don't know when that day or time will be. Only the Father knows. Be careful, always be ready. You don't know when the time will be. It's like a man who goes on a trip and leaves his house in the care of his servants. He gives each one a special job to do. He tells the servant guarding the door to always be ready. And this is what I'm telling you now. You must always be ready. You don't know when the owner of the house will come back. He might come in the afternoon or at midnight or early in the morning or when the sun rises. If you're always ready, he will not find you sleeping, even if he comes back earlier than expected. I tell you this, and I say it to everyone: be ready. Mark chapter 14, the Jewish leaders plan to kill Jesus. It was now only 2 days before the Passover and the festival of unleavened bread. The leading priests and the teachers of the law were trying to find a way to arrest Jesus without the people seeing it. Then they could kill him, but they said, "But we cannot arrest Jesus during the festival. We don't want the people to be angry and to cause a riot." A woman does something special. Jesus was in Bethany at the house of Simon the leper. While he was eating there, a woman came to him. She had an alabaster jar filled with expensive perfume made of pure nard. She opened the jar and poured the perfume on Jesus' head. Some of the followers there saw this. They were upset and complained to each other. They said, "Why waste that perfume? It was worth a full year's pay." It could have been sold and the money given to those who were poor. And they told the woman what a bad thing she had done. Jesus said, leave her alone. Why are you giving her such trouble? She did a very good thing for me. You will always have the poor with you, and you can help them anytime you want. But you will not always have me. This woman did the only thing she could do for me. She poured perfume on my body before I died to prepare it for burial. The good news will be told all over the world. And I can assure you that everywhere the good news is told, the story of what this woman did will also be told, and people will remember her. Judas agrees to help Jesus's enemies. Then Judas Iscariot, one of the 12 apostles, went to talk to the leading priests about handing Jesus over to them. They were very happy about this, and they promised to pay him. So he waited for the best time to hand Jesus over to them. The Passover meal. It was now the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, the day the lambs were killed for the Passover. Jesus' followers came to him and said, we will go and prepare everything for you to eat the Passover meal. Where do you want us to have the meal? Jesus sent 2 of his followers into the city. He said to them, go into the city. You'll see a man carrying a jar of water. He will come to you. Follow him. He will go into a house. Tell the owner of the house, the teacher asks that you show us the room where he and his followers can eat the Passover meal. The owner will show you a large room upstairs that's ready for us. Prepare the meal for us there. So the followers left and went into the city. Everything happened the way Jesus said. So the followers prepared the Passover meal. In the evening, Jesus went to that house with the 12 apostles. While they were all at the table eating, he said, believe me when I tell you that one of you will hand me over to my enemies. One of you eating with me right now. The followers were very sad to hear this. Each one said to Jesus, surely I'm not the one. Jesus answered, it is one of you 12, the one who is dipping bread in the same bowl with me. The Son of Man will suffer what the scriptures say will happen to him. But it would be very bad for the one who hands over the Son of Man to be killed. It would be better for him if he had never been born. The Lord's Supper. While they were eating, Jesus took some bread and thanked God for it. He broke off some pieces, gave them to his followers, and said, take and eat this bread. It is my body. Then he took a cup of wine, thanked God for it, and gave it to them. They all drank from the cup. Then he said, this wine is my blood, which will be poured out for many to begin the new agreement from God to his people. I want you to know I will not drink this wine again until the day when I drink it in God's kingdom and the wine is new. Then they all sang a song and then went out to the Mount of Olives. Jesus says his followers will leave him. Then Jesus told the followers, you will all lose your faith. The scriptures say, I will kill the shepherd and the sheep will run away. But after I'm killed, I will rise from death. Then I will go to Galilee. I will be there before you come. Peter said, all the other followers may lose their faith, but my faith will never be shaken. Jesus answered, the truth is tonight you will say you don't know me. You will say it 3 times before the rooster crows twice. But Peter strongly protested, I will never say I don't know you. I will even die with you. And all the other followers said the same thing. Jesus prays alone. Jesus and his followers went to a place named Gethsemane. He said to them, sit here while I pray. But he told Peter, James, and John to come with him. He began to be very distressed and troubled, and he said to them, my heart is so heavy with grief, I feel as if I'm dying. Wait here and stay awake. Jesus went on a little further away from them, fell to the ground and prayed. He asked that if possible, he would not have this time of suffering. He said, Abba, Father, you can do all things. Don't make me drink from this cup, but do what you want, not what I want. Then he went back to his followers and found them sleeping. He said to Peter, Simon, why are you sleeping? Could you not stay awake with me for 1 hour? Stay awake and pray for strength against temptation. Your spirit wants to do what is right, but your body is weak. Again, Jesus went away and prayed the same thing. Then he went back to the followers and again found them sleeping. They could not stay awake. They did not know what they should say to him. After Jesus prayed a 3rd time, he went back to his followers. He said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? That's enough. Time has come for the Son of Man to be handed over to the control of sinful men. Stand up, we must go. Here comes the man who's handing me over to them. Jesus is arrested. While Jesus was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12 apostles, came there. He had a big crowd of people with him, all carrying swords and clubs. They had been sent from the leading priests and teachers of the law and the older Jewish leaders. Judas planned to do something to show them which one was Jesus. He said, the one I kiss will be Jesus. Arrest him and guard him while you lead him away. So Judas went over to Jesus and said, teacher. Then he kissed him. The men grabbed Jesus and arrested him. One of his followers standing near grabbed his sword and pulled it out. He swung it at the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. Then Jesus said, why do you come to get me with swords and clubs as if I were a criminal? Every day I was with you teaching in the temple area. You did not arrest me there. But all these things have happened to show the full meaning of what the scriptures said. Then all of Jesus' followers left him and ran away. One of those following Jesus was a young man wearing only a linen cloth. When the people tried to grab him, he left the cloth in their hands and ran away naked. Jesus before the Jewish leaders. Those who arrested Jesus led him to the house of the high priest. All the leading priests, the older Jewish leaders, and the teachers of the law were gathered there. Peter followed Jesus, but stayed at a distance. He followed him to the yard of the high priest's house. He went into the yard and sat there with the guards, warming himself by their fire. The leading priests and the whole high council tried to find something that Jesus had done wrong so they could kill him. But the council could find no proof that would allow them to kill Jesus. Many people came and told lies against Jesus, but they all said different things. None of them agreed. Then some others stood up and told more lies against Jesus. They said, we heard this man say, I will destroy this temple built by human hands. And 3 days later, I will build another temple not made by human hands. But also what these people said did not agree. Then the high priest stood up before everyone and said to Jesus, these people said these things against you. Do you have something to say about their charges? Are they telling the truth? But Jesus had nothing to answer him. The high priest asked Jesus another question. Are you the Messiah, the Son of the blessed God? Jesus answered, yes, I am the Son of God. And in the future, you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right side of God all-powerful. You will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven. When the high priest heard this, he tore his clothes in anger. He said, we don't need any more witnesses. You heard all these insults to God. What do you think? Everyone agreed that Jesus was guilty and must be killed. Some of the people there spit at him. They covered his eyes and hit him with their fists. They said, be a prophet and tell us who hit you. Then the guards led Jesus away and beat him. Peter's afraid to say he knows Jesus. While Peter was still in the yard, a servant girl of the high priest came there. She saw him warming himself by the fire. She looked closely at him and said, you were with Jesus, that man from Nazareth. But Peter said this was not true. That makes no sense, he said. I don't know what you're talking about. Then he left and went to the entrance of the yard, and a rooster crowed. When the servant girl saw him there, she began saying again to the people standing around, this man is one of them. Again, Peter said it was not true. A short time later, the people standing there said, we know you're one of them because you're from Galilee. Then Peter began to curse. He said, I swear to God, I don't know this man who you're talking about. But as soon as Peter said this, the rooster crowed the second time. Then he remembered what Jesus had told him before the rooster crows twice. You will say 3 times that you don't know me. Then Peter began to cry. Put these words in the comment section. This is the word of the Lord. Follow, like, and subscribe. Hit that arrow at the bottom of the screen and